got millions of followers on social media. But what's really important about Katie is I don't think people really realize the sacrifice you can make when you step out because of your principles. And I don't think anybody has sacrificed or lost as much as Katie Hopkins has for her convictions and for her faith. And I want her to explain in more depth, but it's really a source of encouragement for me because we live in California and we're quiet. A lot of us are quiet, especially Asians.
Not me.
But 2020 is coming up, and we need the boldness like Katie has to step out and stand up for what you believe in, stand up for your candidate, stand up for your president. So with that, let's bring on Katie Hopkins.
Just to compliment everyone that's spoken, this evening has nothing to do with me. I am the least relevant person in the room. This is all about the candidates that are here. This is all about the lovely family of people that are here in support of them. This is all about Mark and Marlene and the people that helped make this happen. This is what this is all about. So a massive round of applause for these guys for making this happen. And the candidates that are going to make change happen. I think one of the lovely things that you hear time and time again from these guys, I don't know if it's sort of a little bit kind of like we're a bit aggrieved, but we have no choice but to do this. It's like, I could have been retired right now, guys. Do you understand? I could have been in Bali with my feet up, but I've got to do this because I don't know what else to do. I have to do this. And that's what we're hearing time and time again. It is a calling. I believe certain individuals are called to make this happen. And if at any time in our history there was a calling to make your country great again, it is right now, and it is the election in 2020, and it has to go to Trump. We are all looking to you, and we all need you for that. My name is Katie Hopkins. I'm known as many things. Horseface is a popular one amongst the left. Horseface, yes, you heard that right. The biggest bitch in Britain. I get called that quite a lot as well. I'm not that big. Look, I'm 100.
That's a compliment.
I take that as a compliment. Yeah, I'm going with that as a compliment. I get called Milo's mum quite a lot. Quite like the Milo's mum thing. Or Angry Ellen DeGeneres. Angry Ellen, can you believe it? I know I have short hair, but I'm not even gay. Those are two different things. I have to explain that quite in America. I understand that right now we're going to have 800,000 Californians without power, potentially. Your local electricity boards are going to shut down the power because we need to protect you against wildfires, which I completely understand. So I've been advising all Californians, if you're at all worried or concerned about what it's like to live without any power whatsoever, please do get in touch with Hillary Clinton. I went through, so I was always supposed to be in the army. I went through university sponsored by the Intelligence Corps. I went through the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, which is kind of like your West Point, just obviously a bit better. And I went in as one of 30 girls. There were 6 platoons of boys, and there was 1 platoon of girls. And we came up the other side as 8 girls that made it through. And I was given a 35-year regular commission to the British Army in the Intelligence Corps. So I was supposed to be, in my head, the first female general. That's my background. Well, yeah, except here I am, and people say, did you do 35 years? And I'm like, do I look 165? I'm just checking, I'm still, yeah. So anywho, I also am epileptic, or at least I was. I believed in my stubborn younger self, because I am like this, as we recognize, that if I got through the academy, proved that I was physically capable enough, the army would see that I could still be useful, even though I had suspected epilepsy. I got through the academy. I was given the Adjutant's Award for Athletic Achievement. I was the 800-meter runner for the army. But I see now, and I had to be medically discharged in the end because of my epilepsy. And I understand now that an epileptic with a semi-automatic weapon may not be the best idea on the planet ever. I didn't realize that at the time. I had to go to an event at Riverside the other evening. They were missing a speaker, 600 individuals, great Republicans, part of our family, missing a speaker. Sebastian Gorka pulled out with 24 hours to go till the event. So I whizzed up there to be their new Sebastian Gorka.
Yeah.
Which kind of like, I'm just going to point out, I'm not Ellen DeGeneres, but I'm definitely not Sebastian Gorka.
Yeah.
That's a difference. I'm reliable. And I don't mean it, I love him. And the brilliant thing was that during the draw, I had to give out the raffle, like the job you get given. And in the UK, where I come from, obviously if there's a draw or a raffle, we give out something really rubbish, like a bottle of shampoo that my mum found in the cupboard, or a nasty bottle of wine that no one ever is going to drink, you know. Guess what I handed out at the raffle at Riverside in the lovely, it was like a casino there.
A firearm?
I handed out 2 AR-15s.
Yes, firearm.
Yeah, I love the United States of America. I love this place. I tell you, your First and Second Amendments are... I would happily, if someone came here with a bus and told me I could lie down in front of that bus and we would get a First and Second Amendment in the UK, I'd lie down in front of that bus with much happiness. Despite not being able to be armed in the UK, our police are effectively armed with the equivalent of a hand sanitizer and some Clorox to defend themselves. I mean, I'm serious.
Yes.
Despite that, I am a paid up, signed up member of the NRA. I have a car sticker on the back of my car. I have 3 children under the age of 15. I also have a husband. It's a surprising thing, I know. I call him my current husband so he doesn't get too comfortable. But on the back of my car, I have a sticker saying, I don't, he's great, saying with the NRA, other mothers that do the school run have a sticker saying baby on board, you know, all of those bits. Like that's going to change the way people drive. I don't get those stickers at all. Oh, there's a baby on board, I'll be careful then. Huh? So mine says NRA, it says guns don't kill people, but I will gladly do so.
Oh.
So they know what they're dealing with. And it is a great sadness to me that we don't have your constitution. People say, what would I do if I could? I would make people read their constitution, learn their constitution. I would have kids standing up chanting the constitution every day because it is the single greatest document ever written in the history of mankind. Just to give a quick example of where my country is at, and it is a moment of sadness, is that my country is falling, and we are falling fast. I am now a minority white, and we are a minority in London, in Luton, in Leicester, in Bradford, in Birmingham, in Manchester, the list goes on. I am a minority in my own country. There is a new definition, it seems, in my country of diversity, and it just means no white people left. I never knew that's what that meant.
Oh.
The definition of racist in my country is a white person with an opinion. But the thing about this is that I'm being outnumbered more quickly than we can do something about it. By 2035, more births will be to Muslims than to any other religion, total, which is not a problem if we're going to integrate, but they don't wish to integrate. And by 2050, we are outnumbered. Muslims outnumber any other religion. So in time, my country will fall. And the fall that we witness day to day for me and my family is a policing of every thought. We have de facto blasphemy laws in the UK. It's the reason they need a definition of Islamophobia so it can become actually a prosecutable offence, at which point I will go to prison. A friend of mine, a journalist, was refused entry the other day into the UK on the basis of future hate speech, as yet unsaid, that might upset local communities. I know it's upsetting, I'm with you, I'm with you. Future hate speech as yet unsaid. And hate speech policing in my country is reaching an all-time kind of epic scale. Sadiq Khan, the little Muslim mayor that I'm not particularly fond of, everybody give me a boo.
Boo!
So fun, Panto would be great. Sadiq Khan has a hate crime police force unit. He gave it £2.7 million at a time we don't have anybody to police our streets. Our knife crime is at historic highs, the highest ever, and they police our social media, particularly my Twitter. He is really short, actually, disturbingly short. I call him, I'm sorry sir, nipple height in heels, and I'm talking about my mother's nipples. We are talking very low. It's very small indeed. But the point is, this policing of hate speech means that people are frightened to speak about anything. People are self-censoring at the point before they even open their mouth. I know you all relate to this. I know how this is. Because if someone in the UK retweets a tweet of mine, then they will be fired from their job. A fireman just the other week lost his job for retweeting a tweet of mine. Donald Trump retweets my tweet and they shut down my PayPal. I mean, this is the suppression of speech at a significant level. And indeed, I applaud the work being done to reverse the appalling progress that's being made by the trans and LGBTQ communities. I don't care who you want to be, how you want to live your life, but do not force feed it down the necks of my children aged 4, because it is simply not acceptable. We have the same trans issue in the UK. They are in our schools at the age of 4 teaching LGBTQ.
Perversion.
And we have trans individuals in our schools persuading children to change. Unfortunately as well, we now have a situation in British schools where schools are able to transition a child without informing the parents. So we had a mother, one of my friends, go to school not so long ago for a parent-teacher meeting, and at the parent-teacher meeting she was informed that her daughter was now a son, and the school can transition that child. So that's the level that this permeates down to, and very fast. And in terms of coming for us, and it's why I so applaud candidates and people that put their heads above the parapet, because we know it's not easy, we know we get attacked, and it's a very brave thing to do, and I salute you. For me, at a personal level, it's meant many things, and I have no complaints, and none of this is in any way a sympathy thing for me. I'm almost proud, I think. I was a national columnist for 4 years on major newspapers, Mail Online, The Sun, the biggest red paper in the UK. Had the most read column, so it wasn't just that it was dreadful that I got fired. I got fired because my opinions were no longer considered acceptable. Then they came for my radio show. I had a radio show on a Sunday, and it was lovely because people could ring in from their kitchens. They used to ring in their pajamas. And particularly ladies used to ring me, and it was beautiful because these were the truths of the real people of Britain, and it was just a glorious thing. And actually some of our biggest listening group were young people who feel very alone and isolated at the moment. One of the things we can really do is reach out to young people because they're waiting to have a friend. Anyway, they shut down my radio show, so they made me unemployable. Then they came for my children. I have 15, 14 and an 11-year-old son. We call him Golden Balls, mostly because he's treated like he has them. But yeah, so they reported me, and do report me occasionally, to social services on the basis that I'm a bad mother to my children. And social services, whom I respect absolutely, have to come and check out on those reports, which is correct. But of course I do rather wish their time was being dedicated to children who are really in trouble and children who need their help. So that happens a lot. And where I am, I guess in the UK, it's a little different. If you have my personal opinions, you're a pro-Brexiteer, pro-Trump, conservative, Christian, white woman, you're now no longer allowed to adopt children if you have my set of beliefs. So that fine line between me being able to hold on to children is increasingly fine. And then unsatisfied with taking my jobs, they look for my children. They had, I mean, you know how this works, but you've seen it for many people. Mark Stein's just gone through it. Litigation against me, saying that people would cause serious harm by things I said. They don't have to prove serious harm, it can be perceived serious harm. So subsequent litigation meant that eventually I sold my family home to clear the litigation. A form of bankruptcy, but not bankruptcy, because I wouldn't allow myself to do that for pride reasons. And then a couple of jihadis set out to take my head as their wedding gift to her new husband. A lady said she wanted my head as a wedding present. I mean, where we come from, usually we just go with a toaster or some like towels, maybe something for the kitchen, but she wanted my head. I guess it's a Muslim thing. So they practiced at home. They had a shop dummy and a hunting knife, and they practiced chopping my head off. Her name was I think, I mean, I don't know. But she said that I was the biggest bitch of them all. Yeah, you better believe it, sister. So they came to take my head, my house. I have all my children, my husband, my parents. We live out the way in the countryside. I was just drawing us a diagram here. So they're a long way from what I would consider to be trouble, and there is a reason for that. But still, a squad came in the middle of the night and installed panic alarms into my home. They installed a box at the top of my house on the 3rd floor, and I was told that if jihadis came into my home to behead me, I should run to the top of my house. All I had to do was shake the panic box and the police would come. And then they left my house in the middle of the countryside and told me not to worry. It's the sort of thing you do worry about. And finally, of course, the establishment hadn't quite finished with me yet. So they commissioned a play. You can see it online if you Google the assassination of Katie Hopkins. And so billboards went up around the country for this play called The Assassination of Katie Hopkins. It was a state-funded play. Taxpayers' money paid for the play to happen. And the left found it to be a highly amusing, look at the way social media makes people rate. And I tell you all of these things, as I say, not because they're problematic to me. My view very much is, you carry along. You take everything from me, you have nothing left to take from me, because you can't take what matters most, because what matters most is the fight for my country, for this country, for our Judeo-Christian culture, and everything that we stand for. And my view very much is that if you take from us, the left is, Frankenstein. We are their monster. And it's the reason that 1 million great people follow me on Twitter, is because they are just showing that they are with us, they stand with us, they're part of this great family. And I say to you every day, you are not alone. You are not alone. We are many, we are many, we are many. I just walked around that mall earlier, and 2 people stopped me to say, keep going great guns, do what you do. We're not alone. Our supporters are everywhere. They may not be able to tell you, but they are with you, I tell you. And the good news out of Britain is that we now have Boris Johnson. We have Bojo bringing the Bojo to Britain. I'm very excited indeed. We will leave the EU on the 31st of October.
Happy Halloween.
I promise you, I believe in Boris. I'm willing to be proved wrong, and I'm not going to be. We are going to be out of the EU. We're going to take our country back. And the reason people voted Brexit, no one wants to be honest about it, but I am. We voted Brexit because we want to take control of our country. We want our borders back. We want to be proud about our country. And we want to be proud of being British again. And that is what we have fought for. And God bless the 3.5 years people have dug in waiting for this to happen. The will of the people will be delivered by Bojo. You will have seen, of course, the normal smears have come out. People have come out of the closet, pathetic women, saying, well, 20 years ago, Boris squeezed the top of my thigh at dinner. I tell you right now, if Boris Johnson squeezed the top of my thigh at dinner 20 years ago, I would not have showered since. So I'm very happy with that. He's a lovable man, and if you met him, he has charisma, he has charm, he is Trump. And the only thing is, both of them have the worst hairstyles on the planet.
Yes, they have here.
Oh, we need to get a hairdresser in on that act too. And so that's coming out of Britain. Boris is rising back up. The 17.4 million people are feeling energised. There is going to be a terrific feeling in the UK on the 31st of October. It is a glorious day for Britain. And that's when we look to you guys. And that's why I'm here as well, because this matters. We need you to fight like you're fighting, and we need you to fight now. You need to fight like the brave protesters in Hong Kong, waving the American flag, wanting to stand up for democracy, laying it all down. They have said they will die for democracy, and they mean it. And we have to take from them the courage to fight now, every single day, until we get Trump back into power. Because the whole of Europe is looking to you guys for hope. We need you to succeed. And I tell you, I could kiss the 64 million Americans that voted for Trump last time. And if you can all just take one person with you next time, we need to get Trump back in, because we do look to America for hope. My real sense here is that there are three key things that we can do just as individuals. And one of them is to remember what you know. Remember what your truths are. Sometimes we feel like saying, God, are we mad? Am I mad? Am I the crazy one?
No.
You're not the crazy one. Know what you know. Be clear about what you believe in your heart. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Number 2, resist the narrative. Do not let them spoon feed you the nonsense that you know that they are. Help others to just clarify and classify what they're being told, because this is the deception that goes on, the disinformation by the mainstream media. And the third thing we can do, and it's the most important thing of all, is to do this, is to get together with people that you know, that you trust, that you like, even that you don't like, but that you can have time with, and to remind yourself that you're not alone. This is truly one of the loneliest times I think people have felt. Over the last week, I've met many people who've been at events and have found themselves in tears, just simply from the relief of being around people who they feel at home with, who they know. It doesn't matter what they say with, it doesn't matter if they say the right or wrong thing, because there's no such thing as right or wrong, actually. Opinions can't be right or wrong. No one made someone else the adjudicator of what's right or wrong. Be together, breathe, and remind each other you are doing the right thing and you're in this fight for the right reasons. So I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. I will always be right by your side if you need me, or if you're getting any grief from anyone at all, you send them my way and I will remove them at the kneecaps without a problem. And I say, God bless the Asian American Freedom Pack. God bless all the candidates here, and God bless the United States of America.
Yes!
Thank you for your time.
Do you have any questions for Katie? Anybody have questions?
I know you probably have some strong thoughts on Jeremy Corbyn, but do you think he's ever has a real shot at coming to power in the UK?
Jeremy Corbyn, rabid anti-Semite.
Okay, Jeremy Corbyn. He is. He's basically made the Labour Party of Pakistan. He is the Labour Party, the Muslim Labour Party is where we're at. He is an IRA supporter.
Yes.
He is a Hamas supporter.
Yes.
He has supported terrorists globally. And his policies at the last conference they had were terrifying. One of those policies was to close down private schools. Now, I pay to send my 3 children to private schools, largely to get them out of the indoctrination that they are exposed to. But because I pay for my 3 children to go to private schools, I also pay through my taxes for 3 other children to have state school places. I free up 3 places for children who might not be able to afford that or whatever. And Labour, just like your Democrats, can't work this stuff out. They believe that if you take away the politics of envy, the politics of greed, that they're achieving. Whereas of course they're not achieving, they're just creating a cost that we simply can't sustain. Jeremy Corbyn has this sense that we want to do what the Democrats are doing here with Medicare. Socialised healthcare never, never works. Our old people in the UK, our elderly, are told that they cannot have new eyes, they cannot have eye operations, they cannot have new hips. There simply isn't the funding and they're not seen as a priority anymore. We've written off our old people with socialised healthcare. Jeremy Corbyn says NHS is for everybody, migrants can have it, you don't even have to prove citizenship. It's the same thing over and over again. It's just, you know, giving away stuff for free that we know doesn't work. He will never, ever make it to power in the UK because we simply cannot. Jewish communities are already on the move. 8,000 Jews left France last year because the Islamists are controlled. Jewish communities in the UK are on the move. I believe Boris will call a general election, we'll get that significant majority, and then we will get Boris and Donald Trump on the steps of the White House together, and that will be the best night of my life for all time. So absolutely. Any other questions? Anyone want to shout one? Try shouting.
I do have one. Can you give me your opinion on the book by Douglas Murray, The Strange Death of Europe?
Strange Death of Europe by Douglas Murray, a fantastic book. Douglas Murray is a simple delight. He is an absolute charm. As part of what I do, apart from sitting at home and generally having my head tried to be chopped off, I go to the places other people don't choose to go. I'm a little bit sick of people sitting in glossy radio and TV studios telling us stuff. So I go to these places. So I went to No-Go Sweden, spent some time in the no-go zones of Sweden, where only migrants really can go. These are dangerous areas now. Sweden is at a 140-year high for its crime rate right now because of the gang warfare there with the Somalis. Whilst I was in Sweden, a lady spoke to me, so many people have been raped there, and she said she was frightened of talking to me, not because that she might be targeted and raped, but she was frightened of the liberal feminists who would come after her for being racist. She used to arm herself. She was living just off the no-go zone. She used to arm herself with pepper spray, but then the Swedish government brought a case against the girl who was raped, but she pepper sprayed the wrong guy. So they were banned from carrying pepper spray. I mean, this is how far we are bowing down, and that's Sweden. And if I think of other areas I've gone, I travelled from Libya, across the Med to Italy with the migrants, and spent 2 nights as well in the Calais migrant camp where my arms were dislocated in a small skirmish with some migrant men. But my point rather being is that these are fighting age men. These are men who are willing to take, steal, hurt, kill to get what they want. And you know, they give us this line that where they escaped one was so frightening. If it was so frightening, how come you left your your women and your children behind? I mean, please. The other thing that really disturbs me, and it's something Douglas didn't quite go this far in his book, is, you know, if Islam is so fantastic, why is it that Muslims always want to seek refuge in Christian lands? You know, answer me that question, but please. So Douglas Murray book, absolutely accurate, correct. The Fall of Europe absolutely is amongst us, and how it's working out. I just did a movie, Homelands, on this. Jewish communities are going to Israel, 8,000 last year alone, and Christian families like mine are looking towards Hungary and Poland, because Hungary and Poland, God love them, have stood firm. Not one mosque, no immigration from the Muslim community, Christian lands, they're not taking any messing about. So we are looking in the next 20 to 30 years towards the East as a place that we may run. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hungary is keeping George Soros out.
Yeah, Hungary pushed George Soros out. Yeah, in Hungary and in Poland too. The Law and Justice Party in Poland, which are the big guys, they'd be like Trump of Poland, and they've just polled 48%. So in those countries, you've really got allies. You've got really good allies in Poland.
So that's where we need to go on vacation.
Yeah, if you want to go vacation, Estonia, Poland, Hungary, go east, as they say. Those are really great safe lands. Or obviously Israel is a great destination too. And if you're going to come to London, keep moving, end up in a nice countryside town. Come see me in Devon. Well, maybe not me, someone safer than me. But yeah. Don't spend too long in London, yeah. Am I allowed another question or not? I mean, I want more if you've got one, but don't worry if you haven't. But yes?
So what does 2020 look like for Katie Hopkins?
2020 for Katie Hopkins. So much excitement. So 2020 is Boris gets a general election and has an overwhelming majority and takes the House of Commons, and so we can have conservative law and order put back in place and start. We're going to shut our borders, points-based immigration system, and if I have my way, we'll start booting out some of the people that we really don't need in our country. That's going to happen in 2020. There'll be, there's talk of me going into politics, but I just don't know if I'll ever do what I'm told enough to join anyone, so that's that. We're going to have Trump re-elected, clearly, and that is going to be the best night of my life, by a long way. I will do anything, I will come here, I will run naked through the streets of Minnesota, if that's what it comes to. Probably a step too far. I will do anything it takes to get Trump into power, go anywhere, not say anything, obviously I'll never say that I like the Democrats, but I will do anything to get Trump in the White House again. And also in January I'm going to go to Kashmir on the border of Pakistan, because it's time someone helps support the Indian community, the fantastic Indian community that we have, who are pushing back against the Islamists. 384 million people voted Modi, and Modi loves President Trump. So that will be also my job, is building alliances across the globe. Yeah, that's me. Is that, yeah.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you. Let's get a big round for Katie Hopkins. Thank you, Katie.